Hello friends, my name is Jimmy Singh. I'm broker owner of Supermax Realty, 647-961-2639. In this video, I'm going to discuss what happens if buyer doesn't close the transaction on time or try to back out or at the last minute. So first, I'm going to discuss what is the process, how the closing happened. Then I'm going to, discuss what happened to the deposit. And third, we can discuss the tips, what seller can do to mitigate the losses. So first thing is, on the closing date, let's say if it's a Friday or Wednesday, whatever the day, the land registry closes at 5 p.m. and some lawyer offices keep working till 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So what happened typically on the day of closing, the banks will transfer the money to the buyer's lawyer trust account, and then they will wait for paperwork from the vendor's lawyer or the seller's lawyer, and they can both e-transfer the money right away. So everything has to happen by probably 6 p.m. because OREA, Ontario Real Estate Association's contract of agreement of sale and purchase, if we look at the first page, second clause, it says on the completion date the buyer agreed to close the transaction by 6 p.m. So if by 6 p.m. the funds are there in the trust account and the keys are there with the buyer's lawyer, the party can pick up the keys and everything is good and dandy. Though they might not be able to register on the land registry the name of the new purchaser, which would be done the following business day. But you have to understand, time is of essence. And at the same time, if by 6 p.m. They don't get the funds, the buyer is in trouble because seller can cancel the contract and relist and sell to somebody else. So what typically happen is by 6 p.m. The lawyer says, okay, money is here, we can close the transaction in escrow, and then everything is good. But just make sure sometime things can get delayed, because let's say you're picking a key on Friday and following Monday it's a long weekend, and suddenly they find out there's some property damages or liens. Obviously you need to have title insurance to cover for liens, or if there's a property damage, your property insurance should cover it. So that is something you have to aware of. But seller can relist the property, guys. That's the main thing. Seller can cancel it, relist it, and obviously if it he already bought a property from somebody else, and the person he bought the property, he already bought property from somebody else. So there's like a domino effect. You bought somebody's property, he bought further a new house, and the person bought something else. So one person's default can have a big impact, and pretty much multiple parties can breach of contract. So at the end of the day, not only you can lose your deposit, but at the same time you might be liable for legal fees, mortgage carrying cost, or decrease in the sale price, whatever the loss the seller bear, you're responsible for that. He can come out of the deposit. Or let's say he has to take his family to a hotel, there's storage cost, and then obviously he has to go and feed his family as well. So everything you have to be responsible. So try your best to find a solution. Maybe there's like private mortgage, or talk to the seller. If he has substantial equity, maybe he can hold a second mortgage or a vendor take back. At the same time, let's say you bought a house in a good market pre-COVID, and suddenly market slows down and your house is not selling. Talk to your bank regarding bridge financing, right? I'm sure some banks they also want the firm deal before they can lend you the money to put towards the down payment. But there's plenty of options. Talk to the lender, see if there's any blanket mortgage they can put in your existing house, and then it can take care of your purchase as well. And if you're an investor, I have a tip for you. If you're selling an investment property with a substantial equity, so instead of paying tax, capital gain on it, you should take the money and lend to the purchaser at a reasonable interest. That way there's not a big tax bill suddenly. You're just deferring the taxes as well, right? And one thing you have to understand, guys, there's a difference between a deposit, and then there's a difference between part payment. So what that means is basically if the purchaser give a deposit of 10% or less than that, you can forfeit. But obviously you need to either have a mutual lease. So let's say if you're selling $1 million house and somebody give you a deposit of $150,000, which is more than 10%, that is not considered a deposit, because all the courts of appeal in Ontario, they consider if it's more than 10%, that is a part payment towards the house. You are supposed to return it. So what you can do is both the parties can negotiate that if it's more than 10% deposit, 10% maybe we can forfeit, rest of the deposit we can give it back to them. But again, it depends how the things happen. So if sellers end up selling for less what the property is worth as of now, so let's say if the purchaser bought $1 million house and then he default on the closing, and the owner, he end up selling at $950, so he is at loss of $50,000. He can go to court and ask the loss to be applied toward the part payment. So it is not as simple as it seems. So when these things happen, when you're looking to buy a house, you get all excited, there's multiple offers, but market can change pretty quickly. So what you have to do is, if you're losing a job, talk to your bank. Maybe you get qualified for a property mortgage before and suddenly you lost a job. Mostly banks will honor and they will let the closing happen. But be proactive if situations happen. Be in communication with your lawyer, your agent, to make sure you don't lose your deposit, and then you're not liable for extra litigation. I hope it helps. If you have any further questions, you can give me a call at 647-961-2639, or you can visit my website www.supermaxrealty.ca. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.